It's Special Gauri and welcome to a new series which is gonna be completed in just one or two episodes. But anyways, this series is called What If Obito Gave Naruto His Sharingan. So I have read many fan fictions, not about this topic but about Naruto getting Sharingan, which would be his bloodline limit or some shit like that. But I think that Obito giving Naruto his Sharingan would be a better story to do it. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get watching. So this starts at the end of the Naruto Shippuden saga, which means the fight between Naruto versus Sasuke and Kaguya. Naruto and Sasuke versus Kaguya. In that, where Team 7 plus Obito, they are stuck in the other dimension, where Obito, sacrifices his life and to make sure Naruto is alive. And in the canon, he just says goodbye, after making sure Naruto becomes a Hokage and some shit like that, asking him to become Hokage and some shit like that. But here we're just gonna change something. After Obito got stabbed in the chest with the chakra rods, Obito knows that he doesn't have much time left. So he thinks of two options: one, to just say goodbye, and number two, to leave a will. And due to this, basically he's dying. His brain starts processing a mile per hour, a mile per second, if that does make any sense. Basically he's thinking super fast, okay, because I'm not really into the mile thing, but whatever. So Obito decides to go to the first option, but he doesn't know who to give his will to. It should be Kakashi or should be Naruto. But then he realizes that Naruto is the more better option, because Kakashi is kind of useless right now in this whole ordeal. And due to Sasuke kind of having Rinnegan, Obito also wants Naruto to have a Rinnegan, because he thinks due to Naruto's Uzumaki body plus the Obito's chakra, he would be able to achieve the Rinnegan. So Obito turns around and quickly pulls out the size and gives it to Naruto. Not pulls out the size, basically he plucks out Naruto's eyes as well and implants his eyes into it. Basically in a span of 10 seconds, Obito plucks out Naruto's eyes and inserts his eyes into it. Now you might be going into the more logical situation on how Naruto wouldn't react to this, but let's not go into that, let's not go into the more logical representation, because what ifs are not really logical that much. So anyways, and Obito says his goodbye, to Kakashi and tells Naruto to become Hokage. After Obito, turns into dust, and Naruto takes his right hand and puts it in his eye and uses his sun seal which he has in his eye to regulate the chakra flow, which is currently overriding with his own chakra. Basically what he's trying to do is stabilizing Obito's Sharingan with his own chakra. So, and by the way, just to mention, Obito before dying had both of his eyes, meaning he had short range Kamui and long range Kamui. Now you might know how OP's Naruto is going to be in just a couple of seconds. So Naruto opens his eyes, but instead of being the Sage mode eyes, it's not the Sharingan, it's not the blue eyes he normally has, but it is the black eyes. So basically Naruto from this moment on has black eyes in both of his sockets. Naruto thanks Obito and starts fighting. Kakashi, is a little sad that Obito doesn't give him the Sharingan, but he can understand Naruto is the person who has to fight Kaguya and all that stuff like that. Sasuke, seeing this, kind of feel jealous, because his whole other propaganda which is thinking after defeating Kaguya and stuff like that. So yeah, he thinks that Naruto will become a little hindrance, but he still is overconfident because of his new Rinnegan ability. Naruto opens his eyes to show a black eye without any Sharingans or dojutsu in it. Then he slowly puts chakra into his eyes due to all the experience he had with dojutsu users. He knows that if you put chakra into your eye, you will get the dojutsu. I mean, not you won't get the dojutsu. I mean, you will activate the dojutsu. Yes. So Naruto would activate. First he'll go to the 3 Tomo Sharingan, then he'll put more into it, which will turn into the Mangekyo Sharingan. And he would still not stop there. He would go on putting chakra, and that would make his eyes go purple, with his design would start to differ. He would go into the Rinnegan. And this is not an ordinary Rinnegan. This has the 6 Tomo Rinnegan. Now, before you ask how does Naruto has 6 Tomo Rinnegan, because it's only limited to Sasuke, hear me out. So there are a total of three people who have 3 in canon. Number 1, Madara. Number 2, Nagato. And number 3, Sasuke. Madara achieved his Rinnegan during old age, which means his Indra chakra was at its lowest point, and after adding Ashura's chakra, which created the Rinnegan, he was not able to fully utilize the Rinnegan which he had because of his old age. Next comes Nagato, because the Rinnegan isn't his originally. It takes a lot of chakra to use it, so he's unable to use it. But Sasuke having the 6 Tomo Rinnegan is because he's in his not prime, he's in his youthful days, which means his Ashura's chakra is unlocked. Then having Ashura's chakra, Indra's chakra unlocked, and after having Ashura's chakra inserted into him by Kabuto, he gets the Rinnegan. And I'm using the same principle to Naruto, because Naruto has the body of Ashura, Ashura's chakra in his body, and he's having the Sharingan put into it, which contains Indra's chakra. Now, before you all again complain that Obito is not the reincarnation of Indra or some shit like that, I just gonna make you remember that Ashura is the progenitor of the Senju and Uzumaki clans. Basically, he is the body of the Sage of 6 Paths. So the Senju and Uzumaki clan are the body of the Sage of 6 Paths. And Indra is the progenitor of the Uchiha clan, which means that the Uchihas are the eyes of the Sage of 6 Paths. So when both of them are included into each other, they become the Rinnegan. That's how Madara was able to get it, because he inserted Hashirama's cells into him. He got the Rinnegan. And Sasuke also got inserted. Hashirama's chakra got inserted into Sasuke because he was gonna die. He also got the Rinnegan. And Naruto, having the body of an Ashura being, and with Indra's chakra, because the Uchiha clan have Indra's chakra, as well as Obito's whole Indra plus Ashura thing, Obito's whole having Ashura inside his body, that allows him to completely merge with his Sharingan to create the Rinnegan. Now another question pops up as to why Obito didn't achieve the Rinnegan. Its answer is simple. When Madara inserted the Hashirama cells into Obito, he clearly stated that it rejects him. So he has to change it again and again and again during the period of time. So yeah, if it rejects him, it will reject him because of his whole body. And the same applies to Danzo's eyes. It's not eyes, his hand, where he has Hashirama cells placed into his hand and has many Sharingans. But yeah, anyways, we are going further ahead to the water. So anyways, as I was continuing, Naruto gets the 6 Tomo Rinnegan. After seeing this, Sasuke is shocked, because this gets more into his plan. Naruto is even hindering his plans even more, because Obito hindered his plans even more, because Now Naruto has the only Naruto has the thing which made Sasuke take the lead against Naruto. That stuff like that. But they have to focus more on Kaguya, so they continue fighting. And during the whole fighting scene, Naruto is able to use the Rinnegan abilities that he has, which are the other 6 parts. Deva path, animal. He doesn't use animal path. He uses Deva path, Almighty push, Almighty pull. He uses the Mangekyo Sharingan ability of Obito, both Kamuis, which is awesome for him. He just used the tangible Kamui till now, and after that, Naruto realizes that his Rinnegan has a unique ability, and that is to copy others. He thought that it was just like the Sharingan because he had the Sharingan, and he thought that Sharingan has the ability to copy other jutsus, but he copied Sasuke's Amantara Koji. Now, if you guys don't know what the hell Amantara Koji is, it's basically the Sasuke's Rinnegan ability to switch to different places. Basically, he used that against Momoshiki, then Ishiki, and Ishiki. He even showed it in the recent episode. It was the recent episode where Ishiki was having Kawaki, was going to implant his Kama seal into Kawaki, but Sasuke switched places with him. Yeah, that's called Amantara Koji. Naruto accidentally copies it. And the next thing he copies is Kaguya's dimension abilities. He then realizes he can copy Rinnegan abilities also, and he makes use of it. Basically, he copies Sasuke's Amaterasu, which he spams. He uses Sasuke's Chidori, but Sasuke doesn't know this. Okay, Sasuke doesn't know this. But Sasuke doesn't know that Naruto's copying his jutsu. But Naruto does show the Amaterasu, which Sasuke thinks is like a Sharingan ability, and it's like a Sharingan ability. So after this, the scene comes where Sakura tries to help and she gets bodied. Then Sakura tries to run, where in the canon Kakashi comes to save her life, but this time it's Naruto. Naruto uses Amantara Koji for the first time and comes in front of Kaguya's that big ass hand and Sakura because of his whole instincts. And Naruto unconsciously uses the Susanoo. And now you are getting why I said Naruto is gonna be way OP. Naruto uses the Susanoo. Basically, he uses the Kamui Susanoo, which, what's his name? Kakashi had during the final battle. This shocks Sasuke even more. Okay, he's pissed. He's like pissed and pissed. The only advantage he had against Naruto was his dojutsu, but no, Obito had to give him his dojutsu, and he had to have the Rinnegan, and the Rinnegan had the same abilities like the Amaterasu and Amantara Koji. Come on. But then Kaguya, seeing this, decides to teleport Naruto into a different dimension, and then Naruto comes back using the same teleporting thing. But now Sasuke has kind of, you could say, suspicion that Naruto's kind of copying his jutsus. But Sasuke thinks because, Kakashi told him if he doesn't practice his jutsu, he won't be able to master it. But the thing is, Rinnegan's copy ability is so overpowered that he can use the basic, he can already master it. So you might be getting what I'm trying to say. Naruto and Sasuke finally again battle where Kaguya shows all her abilities where Naruto copies and copies and copies. Basically, he copies the crystal power as well as the genjutsu prowess of her. That's also basically he becomes the genjutsu master by just copying Kaguya, which is kind of a weird thing, but still. And then he becomes Sasuke is just keeping using jutsus and jutsus. I mean, not only has like, yeah, what Rasengan and what's his name? Yeah, Fuma Rasengan. No, it's not Fuma Rasengan. Yeah, Rasen Shuriken. So he's just spamming that. Naruto doesn't want to show his skills right off because he knows that he has to fight Sasuke. Because of his Rinnegan, his mind is developing, and due to him copying jutsus, his mind has created his copying jutsus. His Rinnegan has subconsciously created a library of sorts in his mind, where he can store jutsus on his elemental thing or whatever kind of name it is, and he can store how many he wants. So finally, Naruto and Sasuke are fighting. Naruto decides to, with his unpredictability, he uses Shadow Clone and then goes, tells the Shadow Clone to go to Sakura and Kakashi to explain a plan. And he tells Sasuke to, he also tells Sasuke about the plan. Sasuke begrudgingly agrees this because the previous plan with the whole harem jutsu didn't really work, but this has a more possible timing to work. So Naruto and Sasuke, take her on again, where they take her into a corner, and then both of them raise their each dominant hand, Naruto being right with the sun seal and Sasuke being left with the moon seal. They're bringing it towards Kaguya, while Kaguya uses she creates what is it called? Yeah, chakra out of thin air to stab Naruto's palm. But Naruto, seeing this, uses Kamui to suck the entire chakra into his new dimension, and then while both of them are going to touch Kaguya, she flies up. Both Sasuke and Naruto make eye contact, and both of them nod. Naruto looks above Kaguya and then says, "Kamui!" And then above Kaguya's head, the dimension, the distortion scrolls, if you get what I mean. Basically, the Kamui dimension is activated just above Kaguya's head, and comes out two people, Sakura, who's gonna punch him, and Kakashi, who's gonna drop kick her, and they do successfully, and that brings Kaguya down, and Naruto and Sasuke are able to touch her, which causes to activate the Chibaku Tensei, which basically seals Kaguya. But Naruto also copies this ability, because why not? I mean, if this was a thing which they needed to use to seal Kaguya, then why not copy this ability as well? And after that, both Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi and Sakura come down, and Naruto decides to make a little risk. He goes towards Sasuke and puts his dominant hand on Sasuke's left eye. Then when he removes it, Sasuke's eye turns back to normal. When he questions Naruto on what he's done, Naruto just simply says to him that he regulated the chakra, which he did himself. So the Rinnegan is part of Sasuke's bloodline now. So there might be a chance that the kids, he's not going to say that, but it's basically a part of Sasuke's bloodline. But only Sasuke can only use the left Rinnegan, because Sasuke doesn't have another Rinnegan. He only has one Rinnegan. And after this, they go back to they bring them back to the base. And Naruto, seeing the first four Hokage, still has his own meeting with Minato. And during that, Naruto says to Minato about Obito's will, which he gave it to him. And yeah, and just before going, Naruto decides to do something different. He tells all the Hokages to come in front of him, and he touches them equally. And after that, Naruto says them goodbye. He's not going to say what he did, but the plan which he did has been a success. And after that, Sasuke goes his own, how he's gonna make the shinobi world his own slave and blah blah blah. And after that, he goes to make he activates his Renegan in his left eye and then uses a Chiba, tries to control the Biju. Just before he controls it, Naruto and Kurama, the Yang have, it was Yin, right? Yeah, the Yin have make eye contact. And due to the connection between all of the Bijus, he's able to reassure them he's gonna win, with their own mindscape, because Sage of Six Paths told them that Naruto is the communication center of all the Bijus. So he's able to reassure them he's gonna win back Sasuke, and they don't react. So Sasuke is also confused that they didn't react, they just simply got caught. And then he tells Naruto to fight him, and he goes. And this is where I'm gonna leave for this. No. Just before, I'm just gonna give you a small spoiler. Not a spoiler, I'm just gonna continue. So after that, Naruto looks around and he and the Sage of Six Paths look at each other, and Naruto nods. Sage of Six Paths first gets confused, then gets what Naruto is trying to do and smirks. And then Naruto activates his Renegan then Naruto looks at the divine tree and all the people who are captured there. Then Naruto uses his Renegan. And that's where we're gonna leave for this episode, guys. If you guys like this video, like, share, subscribe, do the necessary stuff. And if you don't, I can understand. Peace out.